She eats up for her problems, probably.
That was totally.
You should go after those coyotes. You would have really loved it yesterday. You got to see my videos, Gary. We had a road runner, someone dressed up as a road runner.
Oh, how fun.
Should we start asking questions?
Yeah, like, why did you shove a camera in my face?
Okay.
Yeah, well, you need to wait, RG. Yes. Like, and stop harassing senior citizens. There's an idea, too. I want to talk about myself, of course. Hi. So we're going to wait a few more minutes? Okay. So I'm a Torrance resident, so I just want to make that very clear, and I'm extremely alarmed by SB 54. And I understand that it may be the law of the state of California, but it really puts sheriffs in a really tough bind because you've got your oath to the United States Constitution, and then there's the California Constitution, and we've got a conflict here. So I have a couple questions about that.
Those are valid questions.
You damn right they are. Oh,
Huh? There we go.
high five.
Oh, yes. That's what I'm talking about.
All right, so what's your rank? Are you a sergeant, a lieutenant?
I'm retired right now.
What was your final rank? Lieutenant, got it. Let's see. Do you know a guy named Frank Dean? Do you remember a guy named Frank Dean?
Hold on 1 second.
Oh, I have to wait. I'm not important enough. But I'm important enough for someone to shove a camera in my face. Hey, Robin, you're important enough for a lady to harass you. Oh,
I'll be right back.
oh, wait, no. Oh, Raul should have been here. Oh, he would have had so much fun. Well, his son's in the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department.
I believe it's Los Angeles.
Oh, he's in LA, don't you? Okay. Okay.
I'm not sure.
Thank you. Get the word out. Like, did you see that? She tried to do the middle finger. Did you see that? Wow, not very respectful. She went almost. We have more fun. There's something about not breaking the law all the time. It's fun.
Good, clean fun.
Yes. One rule of law. I miss Chanel. She's not able to be here right
You
now.
live in Torrance?
I do, yes. Do you live in Torrance as well?
No, actually, I live in the South Bay, but,
Yeah, but he wants to be our sheriff, so it's the whole county.
yeah, well, absolutely.
Yep. So, do you know about SB 54?
So, yeah,
Yeah, so what's your take on it?
I have mixed feelings about it.
Boy, a lot of people do. Yeah, I wish we had more of I would like our sheriff to take a even bolder stance, just to defy it and say, I took an oath to the United States Constitution, I am not going to comply. I was there in Ventura County, Sheriff Dean, and he may be a Democrat, but he's like, he opposed it. He opposed it, and
Well, they understand it's just about keeping their county safe.
yeah, it's a safety issue.
Is it the, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, so, I'm not that versed on it, so my understanding is they protect the undocumented that are in this country that aren't criminals, right? But they want the criminals out.
No, it's protecting them too.
They protect both.
Yeah.
So they don't want the criminals out either.
It's a total, it's covering everybody. Child molesters have been released onto our streets, domestic violence,
So it's not based on criteria. Right?
What happened was there's been 3 laws. There's been Prop 47, Prop 57, AB 109.
Right, I know about 47, 57.
Yeah, those 3 laws reduce a lot of felonies to misdemeanors.
Right.
And so in the sanctuary state legislation, it says that if they're convicted of a felony, that they could be to contact with ICE to be deported. But the felonies were all put down to misdemeanors.
Yep.
Now you guys just take that. You guys want the criminals out, right?
Yes.
The violent-
I will be very candid. Anyone who's in this country illegally needs to go.
Just-
You're a criminal if you're in the country illegally.
Just in general, overall.
Yes, but that certainly includes the cadre of anybody who, I don't care if it's a broken taillight to murder, you need to go.
Okay.
This is crazy. I mean,
What
we've
does
got,
what does the law say?
with SB 54,
Yeah.
So the statute strictly says, there's a certain list of felonies which are reportable to ICE,
Are these violent felonies?
so, including those, but there are many, like if you have an explosion device and you're lucky that it doesn't go off, then you don't get deported. So if you,
That kind of falls under the Prop 57, right? Some things that are.
Similar.
Yeah, they reduced a bunch of the crimes.
One thing that baffled me about Prop 57, that a rape of an unconscious person.
yeah, that's protected too.
That's-
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
like,
And that's the guy from Hermosa Beach who said, I have to accept him because he's
and
gay.
you get,
I have to.
you're not completely.
There's no tolerance.
And you get a DUI.
Yes, you did. I have it on record. You have to accept me. I will not accept tolerance. He said that. He said that. And that was the Henry Waxman Town Hall 5 years ago. I remember.
Time ago.
That's bigotry. Which is why I'm part of mass resistance. And smile.
Everybody knows everybody
The
here.
law specifically
Seems like
says
everybody
it
knows
has to
everybody
be.
here.
Well, yeah, she knows us. She's got lots of photos of us, especially of me close up.
Only DUI is when you're
Yeah.
somebody, right?
Even though she's wearing sunglasses and it's, there's no sun out.
You know,
Can we, I mean, this is good. I like this dialogue. Can we just have like a civil dialogue?
I would like to. I just hope that she doesn't attack her.
Okay.
That's all. Because keep an eye on her.
Let's just not attack everybody, just have.
I appreciate it.
a
These-
productive dialogue.
Well, Avoyan doesn't attack people, but she's crazy. She's gone after Robin a few times.
What's your name?
My name's Arthur.
Arthur, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. What's your name?
Carl.
Nice to meet you. And I'll let everybody introduce themselves if they want to.
Why don't we do that? Let's.
Okay, yeah.
I'm Carl. I'm a South Bay resident.
Cool.
Danny.
Robin Goodson from Claremont.
Arthur Torrance.
Gary from West Covina, LA County.
Yeah, I'm Steve from Redondo Beach.
Okay.
Daria,
From-
around the way.
Oh, I thought it was RG.
Arthur.
And I'm Alex Villanueva from Harbor Heights.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Okay, now, everybody here is local except the two of you from
Everyone,
Claremont
Still,
and West Covina.
LA County, huh?
yeah.
True, no, I'm
Yeah.
just curious what brought you.
We're talking about the South Bay area.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and Fernando, we missed one.
Yes.
And he's also, you're at Long Beach.
Are you assisting his campaign?
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
We have some issues apparently that there's been ongoing discussion way before
Very.
we arrived. And that discussion's been going on for a long, long time. Okay, because we have a lot of serious problems in the country. For sure, and in Los Angeles County, we have a lot of big challenges.
Yep.
And we can start with a rising crime rate.
Mm-hmm.
Homicides, 12.24% in the first 7 months of this year alone. Rapes, 9.93% the first 7 months of this year. And from 2015 to 2014 to 15, 9% rise in Part 1 violent crimes. Those are all the crimes that are considered the most violent. Homicide, rape, assault with a deadly weapon, arson is in that one, right?
Holy
Part
crap.
one. And what am I missing? I got them all.
Assault with a weapon, you got
Yeah.
that.
How about carjacking? That's up.
Robbery, that was the one.
A robbery, yeah. Force.
That's the other one. So all of those crimes from 2014 to 2015, the first full year of Jim McDonnell's time in office, it went up 9%.
9?
9%.
Okay.
Year 2, 2016, another 9% increase. Year 3, another 9% increase. Now we're up to 2017. And then I gave you the numbers for the first 7 months of 2018. So we have a nonstop rise in the crime rate. My opponent's trying to tell you that crime is trending downward, but I can't seem to find any numbers to support that. And I'm quoting the statistics from the department's own numbers. These are posted on the website lsd.org, and two publications called the Year in Review. Year in Review years 2015 and 2016 for purposes of reference for those who want to do your fact checking.
Okay.
Now the question is, what are our big challenges? How do we resolve these big challenges? I know a big one. Let's put that right out the gate. The one that seems to draw your attention to
Yep.
is sanctuary state.
Yep.
Let's get an understanding from you. What do you believe that represents?
What this represents is protecting illegal alien criminals and allow them to be released back into our streets. plus the fact that Props 47 and 57 have reduced severe felonies, that they're wobblers now and are often reduced to misdemeanors. So the sheriff of Orange County, for example, had to release a felon who had had sex with a minor, child cruelty, domestic violence. Sheriff Jeff Dean, in June of this year, testified before the Thousand Oaks City Council. That's in Ventura County. Okay, so we're not even, these are like quote unquote lower crime rate areas where a sex offender was also released back onto the streets. They could not hold him because of SB 54. I don't know, the sanctuary is for illegals and criminals. That's the only sanctuary that's left now. And by the way, I have friends in Salinas, which is now turned into the murder capital of the state. They don't feel safe. They told me not to wear my red hat, not because it says make California great again or it has a Trump thing, just because it's red. They said you cannot wear that hat on the street, but I get shot. I did it anyway, but I can tell you when I went into the Monterey County Board of Supervisors, I saw all of these cutouts in wood of men, women, and children who had been murdered by quote unquote loved ones, domestic violence abuse. It's going through the ranks. Now, of course, that's Monterey County. We're talking about LA County. I understand. And I hate to say it, but it sounds to me like we've got the largest population of any county in the state. So it's only gone from bad to worse. Plus you have all these mayors who are saying, we're going to be sanctuary jurisdictions. Come on over. We won't report you to ICE. Break into our country. You can undermine our quality of life. You can take jobs. And now there's the taco trucks on every corner bill that passed, or that was signed into law, which has now made it worse. I've been to MacArthur Park. It is a cesspool of crime, stolen IDs, fake SSN numbers. It's just former congressmen like Elton Gallagly, who was from Ventura, went to MacArthur Park and he was able to buy Social Security numbers. And that was 20 years ago. Now we have congressmen who think it's okay, like Ted Lieu, who voted against Kate's law. I would like a sheriff who defies the sanctuary state law and says, I took an oath to the United States Constitution. Are you going to do that?
That's a very interesting question. And I'll tell you this, the oath of the sheriff is the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of California.
So we got a problem.
Actually, we don't have a problem.
Explain.
Why is that? SB 54, the sanctuary state law, or the California Values Act, actually.
Not my values. Is it your values, Gary?
Let him.
Well.
Sorry, that just really offends me, so, but I agree with him. Fair enough.
We do live in a democracy, and majority
Oh,
doesn't.
brother, don't get me started. Sorry.
Okay,
All right.
and the legislation was passed with input from all across the state, legislators, sheriffs. In fact, our own Sheriff Jim McDonnell made a lot of input in SB 54 and actually fought against it. Which
Thank
was
God.
Probably to your satisfaction.
Very much so.
But here's where it takes a twist. Now he supports it. So do you support him or do you oppose him? Because he's trying to have it both ways.
My answer is that he's in the same bind that a lot of sheriff's deputies and sheriffs in general across the state are, like Jeff Dean.
Actually, the sheriff deputies are not in any bind whatsoever.
That's not true. The Sheriff's Association in the state of California opposes SB 54. They still oppose it.
The California Sheriff's Association, those
Yeah.
are sheriffs, not deputy sheriffs.
And even more so, I've spoken to them. Frank Dean, I mentioned to you, he's a retired sheriff's deputy now. He's one of many I've spoken to who opposes this.
Okay, well, we're not gonna do anecdotal who you spoke to. We're gonna go by the actual organizations and their positions.
Okay, but I just mentioned organizations.
The California Sheriff's Association is an association of sheriffs, elected sheriffs.
Thank God.
Same ones that take money and also house undocumented people that are gonna be deported by ICE.
I like
They
that.
actually
I want them deported.
use some of their jail space for those purposes. And they have contracts with the,
I'm allowed to. He wants to run for office and I'm allowed to respond.
Let them finish.
He did,
all right.
and I responded.
So,
You support SB 54.
yes, of course.
Did
I
you
do.
support it before it was amended?
I supported the initial idea behind it. There was details that needed to be resolved.
Okay.
Which was exactly what degree of cooperation with ICE. But the principle behind SB 54 is one that a lot of people who oppose it fail to recognize. Is that as sheriff, I have the obligation, the responsibility to safeguard the safety of every single man, woman, and child in the entire county of Los Angeles. I don't get to pick and choose, oh, you're an undocumented resident, you're unworthy of being secured in your person and in your premises. That does not pass constitutional muster to begin with. SB 54 strikes that balance, It allows us to deport those that are deemed to be a threat to society. That's why there's about 800 categories, which are, of course, all the violent felonies. And those are the ones that are, once a person completes their sentence, they qualify under SB 54, they're transferred to custody of ICE. The ones that do not qualify, guess what? They've already they've paid their debt, they go back released into the community. And
commit
some
more
people
crime.
oppose that, but they miss the big picture.
Hmm.
The issue of enforcement of immigration law, that's the federal government's responsibility.
Mhm.
It is not the responsibility of local law enforcement. And this is something that was originated actually by a very conservative chief of police, Special Order 40, which came back in the 1970s.
79.
Okay, so this is not something that arose out of some liberal ideology. It was out of straight practicality. Because when you use local law enforcement to enforce immigration laws, guess what? Those undocumented people are still here. They're not going to report being victim of crime. They're not going to report being victims of sexual assault, victims of robbery, domestic violence. And we're not even starting on the workplace about sexual harassment, theft of wages, and all these things. We create entire group of people who are now victimized by predators who know, they're going to be afraid to report because, and that's exactly what happened. Study after study has demonstrated that. And this is not something that's a hypothesis. No, it's actuality.
So you care about victims. You don't want more victims. I respect that. Did you know that there were 5 victims who were burned alive in a warehouse in the Westlake section? And you know who killed them? Johnny Sanchez, an illegal alien. What about their sanctuary?
Well, if we start.
Oh, and I have to add, pardon me, I got to add this.
Hold on.
What happened? No, I have to add to this because I didn't finish explaining the situation. Mr. Sanchez broke into the country as a quote-unquote DACA. So even whether I agree or disagree with that program, that's something he could have gone under but didn't. He kicked a woman 10 times in the face. He had numerous drug charges and was convicted and yet released because of Props 47 and 57. And then he set a abandoned warehouse on fire, which killed 4 Iowans, including Miss Tierra Stansbury. I've talked to the father, Chris Stansbury, who has to raise money now to come to LA to prosecute, to seek the prosecution, and they're not seeking the death penalty for some reason. So where's their sanctuary? I'm a citizen, and now they were citizens, Tierra, and then there was one gentleman, a black man named DeAndre Mitchell, who rushed in to try to save their lives, and he was killed too.
And he has a daughter that is now being raised by DeAndre's mother,
Yeah.
and she wants to know where is her sanctuary, where is the help for her?
I
And
think
this
you're
child is
using-
now fatherless.
I think you're using the term sanctuary in a very loose manner, and you use it as a pejorative.
It seems pejorative.
Safety.
Where's the sanctuary?
Where's the safety for American
Well, for
citizens?
one, I think if you start picking and choosing, I could blame every single, every distributor of alcoholic beverages for the death of anybody who was killed DUI.
Are you saying that they shoved the drink down people's throats? No, they did not.
Are they
So-
breaking the
You
law?
can't pick and choose.
I'm not picking or choosing. They didn't break the law selling a liquor.
Exactly.
Now,
Selling
I'm
liquor.
getting the gist that you don't really like undocumented residency.
Oh, so now you're making it about personal slights. If you're in this country illegally, you've broken the law. And I've just mentioned to you 5 Americans who were murdered. It's a nearly capital offense that Sanchez is being charged with. Okay? Are you saying that his rights are more important than the citizens who were murdered?
No one's saying that.
Okay, so,
You can't start putting words in people's mouths.
okay,
Draw
but you
these
put words in my mouth.
Logical fallacies.
Yes, you did. You just put words in my mouth when you
There's
said that I don't like
approximately
undocumented.
11 to 12 million undocumented residents in the entire country.
I think it's more.
And your position is you want them all out of the country.
Yes.
How?
Well, first of all, we shouldn't have sanctuary jurisdictions anymore. They should be a clear signal sent by every executive from city to county to state to our own president, who actually has made that very clear, including his attorney general, whom I sometimes don't like. So they would know you're not going to find safety here. You're in this country illegally. You're going to be deported if you're caught.
So an
Now,
ICE
there's
director-
self-deport for starters. They just leave. Second of all, I agree with you. Look, if you're a police officer or a sheriff's deputy you've got a lot of work on your hands. You're trying to deal with the crime that's out there. I get it. But I think we should make it easier that once the ID is run on these individuals, oh, you're illegal, ICE, pick them up. Done. And a lot of police support that. Get them out of here.
No.
Yeah? Oh, so you don't agree with that? You don't want that? Why?
Last thing, one, I was in the law enforcement, in the sheriff's department for 32 years,
Okay.
and I did not find that, whatever you're claiming, no.
So you would not want to have access. It would be a very easy process. It's gotten easier now after 30-some years. Oh,
Remember, I'm
this person's
responsible
illegal.
for everyone's safety. If I'm
Mhm.
deporting people because I came in contact with them by virtue of my job, how many people are gonna come to me and say, hey, by the way, I just got victimized? Oh, by the way,
Well, if they're gone.
I just raped, I was robbed.
Well, if they're not here illegally, then it's not a problem.
So they're not human beings to you?
So that's.
Oh, they're human beings, but they're here
Should they
illegally.
be treated properly?
Yeah, by following the law.
Actually,
And there shouldn't be a set of laws for them and a set of laws for everybody else.
let's avoid the crossing.
Well, that's fine,
You
but
said a magic word.
what is it?
They shouldn't be here, therefore you don't care about what befalls them. Well, guess what I do? My job is to care for everyone. I don't get to pick and choose who I care
That
for
means the
because
whole
of their
world can come here then.
citizens.
Is that your contention? So someone from China can come here?
It's not his choice though.
Actually, yeah, because I'm following the law.
Your attitude is the whole world could be here then. There's no end.
No,
That's what you just said.
You
care for
said, because
everyone.
everybody who's in the county. So if,
you know what? Please, ma'am, I'm being very respectful, I'm following through, trying to understand your
I'm trying to
logic.
understand yours.
But when you're saying, you're trying to put words into my mouth, I did not say everyone
I'm
can
trying
come
to
here.
understand what you're saying. I thought that's what you said.
This is very
You care
simple,
for
ma'am.
everyone.
We have about 900,000 undocumented residents here in Los Angeles County alone.
Wow.
We have the greatest population in the entire country here in Los Angeles.
I know, that's a
County.
problem.
It is a problem.
They need to
However,
go.
It sounds to me like a dream for you to see them all rounded up in boxcars.
Just follow the law.
Boxcars? No, why do you say boxcars?
just
I just
follow
said
the law.
self-deport would be the first one. I didn't say boxcars.
Self-deport.
Are you putting words in my mouth? Because you just
Self-deport.
tried to. That's very offensive.
Mr. Villanueva, may I ask you a question, sir? From your experience as a law enforcement officer, is it worth a law enforcement officer's time to round up anybody who is not here legally, who does not have papers, even though they are not breaking the law, even though they are contributing to society, they're working hard?
Hold on.
They are breaking the
We are
law.
not going to get involved in immigration law. We have the federal government that's going to follow and enforce federal law.
Okay.
And no one is going to restrict them from doing their job enforcing.
Actually, they
federal
are
law.
being restricted because of SB 54.
Yeah.
Well, that matter came before a federal magistrate behind the lawsuit that Jeff Sessions did against
God
the
bless
state of
him.
California. And guess what? Of the three issues, there was three separate matters. One of them was SB 54. And guess what the one was that the judge said was okay? SB 54.
And there was another one, but now it's being appealed to the
Yes,
ninth,
it
and it will be
was.
appealed to the
Supreme.
Supreme.
It is still a work in progress.
I
The
cannot
lawsuit.
force the federal government to enforce state law. By the
Okay.
same token, the federal government cannot force me to enforce federal law. It's
Well,
the same principle.
actually, that's not true. I mean, universities are facing lawsuits right now because they're not respecting the First Amendment rights of college students, liberal and conservative. In fact, you take an oath, as you said, to the United States Constitution. You are bound by respecting those laws. Yes.
I don't think you quite understand the difference, though, between federal laws and the U.S. Constitution.
Okay.
The nature of the two.
Actually, you can go to Article 1, Section 8, that speaks to the enumerated powers, and then you can go to Article 6, Section 2, which outlines that the federal laws are recognized as supreme laws of the land. And when there's a conflict, federal law, pardon the expression, trumps state law.
And go down and find me the part where it says federal law can mandate the state law. Let me see. Carry out the duties of the federal government.
Let's see if I brought a constitution with me. I think I have a few, actually.
Come across that.
Isn't bank robbery a federal crime?
Mr. Villanueva, may I ask
Oh,
you-
yeah, it is.
Let's go on to county matters, and you said. you
Oh,
want more
oh,
deputies on the street to combat the rising crime problem.
Actually, that is a good point. I don't think we resolve this issue tonight because you're dead set on your opinion.
It's not just my opinion, it's the opinion of many people in this county.
Well,
And they can come.
Even illegal aliens don't want sanctuary state.
Hey, Arthur, we want to hear other issues, but that's fine.
I know
Okay.
you came here solely for that purpose, but guess
Well, I came
what?
for other issues too.
There's a lot
Are you
of
reading my
things
mind
we
now?
can Talk about, we can get back to that.
You don't want to read my mind, you want to know what's in
And
it.
there's a lot of local residents here who
Like
care
me.
about rising crime. And not just you, Arthur, a lot of local, I'm sure many people in the South Bay are concerned about the rising crime rates.
Yeah.
And would like to know how.
Like people
Mr.
shoving
Villanueva
cameras in my face.
Can make sure that we have enough deputies out there to keep us safe. in the county,
Well,
correct?
actually, that is a very big problem right now. We're about 1,500 deputies in the hole,
Yep.
courtesy of Jim McDonnell. And
Why is it
we're
his
getting
fault?
better.
What did he do wrong? Why is it his fault?
Well, when you brag about how many people you fire, you can't really go on a hiring bid. It doesn't really work very well.
He's always hiring.
I know. And you would agree that Paul Tanaka, I mean, I have a different view on him too, but I would imagine you're glad he's gone, right? Paul Tanaka, he was one of the under sheriffs.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so he was fired. You would agree that it was good for him to be terminated. And now he's in a prison. I get that. So you can't blame Jim McDonnell if he's enforcing
Well-
expectations in his department.
See, this is
Okay, so what's the
where-
problem? Tell me. Because you said I was only concerned. I'm
When
concerned about other
McDonnell-
issues.
When McDonnell came into office in 2014,
Okay.
he actually promoted all of Paul Tanaka's foot soldiers, and they're now his command staff.
Mhm.
These are the same individuals that carried out all the dirty work of Paul Tanaka and his ruthless rise to power. That is not going to engender trust within the department.
Well, by the way, I actually don't agree with a lot of the drama that was attributed to him. He turned the city of Gardena, it became like the 25th station. He didn't want to, I think he was ramroded. You can talk to any resident in the city of Gardena, they felt safer after he was mayor and he was working as a sheriff, unless you believe whatever LA Weekly writes,
Well,
but
let's-
that's another
let's
story.
stay on this topic of.
Sure, I have a constitution, so.
Actually, Mr. Villanueva, to get back to my question, do you think we could put more deputies on the street by recruiting? Do we need to recruit more deputies, or can we just use the deputies we have now and just, station them to the
We
street?
don't have enough deputies. We're, like I said, 1,500 in the hole. Last year alone, we lost 100 deputies. We have 100 deputies less than what we started with at the beginning of the year last year. This year, we lost deputies the first 6 months of 2018 alone. So we're on pace to lose 200 for the year 2018.
Okay.
So we're definitely in a nosedive in terms of retention.
I've got an
So,
idea.
Sir, if you're
Hold
gonna
on.
recruit, are you gonna make an effort to have a diverse sheriff's department?
Yes, we're going to have a diverse sheriff.
What does that mean?
It's going to be reflective of the communities we serve, the entire county of Los Angeles.
If I want to serve in like I'm very concerned, like I have, Frank Dean's a friend of mine. Now he's white and he grew up in a majority Latino neighborhood. So based on what you're suggesting, would he no longer be allowed to serve like in the city of Cudahy or Huntington Park? Because those are majority Latino communities.
That's not what he said.
Was you said they would reflect the communities.
I want people to serve in the communities they grew up in. I want people who have the desire, for example, someone grew up in
Okay.
Cudahy, well, God bless them if they want to go back to Cudahy to serve.
Okay. So we're looking at, but so it has nothing to do with skin color.
That would be a strength. We're not going to be hiring people based on a quota or anything like that.
Good. Okay.
You can pass through our testing process, you come from Los Angeles County, we're off to a very good start.
Okay.
We have a difficulty, in fact, McDonnell himself has said that, well, we hire, or we have 100 people apply, we have 96 that fail through the process, you probably heard these numbers,
Yes.
then we end up
Yeah.
putting forth through the academy,
Yeah.
but he doesn't finish the equation. He puts forth through the academy, 3 make it through, of the 3 that make it through, he fires one quits, and we're left with 1 out of 100. That is the current math of Jim McDonnell. And that is the math that's killing us as an organization. We're in a tailspin right now. We had a lawsuit that was initiated by the ACLU in 2012. It had to do with filing lawsuits against the department in the county of Los Angeles on behalf of undocumented residents who were detained based on an ICE immigration detainer, an administrative detainer. And that was deemed to be unconstitutional because those of you that are big fans of the Constitution know you cannot detain someone.
Unconstitutional by the ACLU,
And that's been resolved.
Hey, guys, I gotta interrupt something.
so
There's,
it's,
East LA, there's 2 deputies hit right now, and an active shooter in East LA, so the calls are going up for you, just, they want you to know.
Oh, shit.
It's your,
What are the conditions of it?
they don't know, they're LA.
Jesus. Where in East LA? I know that area. I do.
We don't need you down there, Arthur.
and that case is still being litigated, that he's talking about,
The-
it's not
the-
finalized.
That issue with Oregon is not an issue anymore.
He's gonna let me know what's going on. He's out there right now.
Okay.
All right, let me know, and if we need to roll it.
Yeah, yeah, both of them both deputies were scooped and rolled, they got hit, deputies took up there at LCM. still an active shooter.
You know, this is something I wanted to bring up too, because you're interested in public safety and we need that. Now, you would acknowledge that when seconds count, at best, deputies are minutes away and it's not their fault. They're not God, they're not divine creatures. Are you going to turn LA County into a shall issue state for county for CCW? If I want to get a right now it's may issue. If I wanted to get a firearm or CCW, it's the discretion, totally the discretion of the chief, police chief, or of the county sheriff. I don't agree with that. Will you change that?
It's gonna be a good cause, based on a showing of good cause. You show me
But
why.
I have a right, like I said, I'm a big fan of this. I have a right to self-defense. Nobody should be sitting on a CCW application in county. Even if you've committed a crime, you don't give up your rights. Now, it depends on the crime, or it depends on a record of mental illness, whatever it may be. And I would agree, that's a criticism I have for previous sheriffs, including McDonnell. Excuse me, I'm not finished. Excuse me, I'm not finished. Stop being rude. So what we've got here is, are you willing to expedite and determine that LA County will be a shall issue? If I want to seek a CCW and I meet the common law requirements, it's all common law back to the 1600s. If someone has a history of mental illness or whatever, they're not qualified to have a firearm. But if all conditions are met, will you make sure that LA County is a shall issue county?
If all conditions are met, my standard will remain good cause. You show me good cause.
Okay, then the answer is no. All right. Okay.
And, I will say though, however,
You took an oath. I'm
Jim
just saying.
McDonnell, his standard is no issuance at all. He's issued 195 CCW.
And I agree, that's wrong. I agree with you.
And,
That's not okay.
he's even forced judges to actually apply for CCW when that is something that was an assumption based on the occupation, that it should be.
I think judges do need them, but I want one too, if I need it. I think I need a CCW, because people like her and her cronies attack us. She's attacked this woman, shoving a camera in her face.
That's not what this is
Uh-huh.
about. Let's stop that.
Oh, now they're getting personal. You're the one who said I have to accept you. I'm sorry. You're taking away his time. Stop being rude.
You attacked me as soon as I
All right.
came in the door.
How about let's stay on
Okay.
the
Let's
time
stay
vote.
on the issues.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, we went past this.
I don't know your name, but I'm glad you know mine.
We were still talking about recruitment before we. got
And
to that.
CCW, because we can't recruit enough, so let me have a firearm.
I don't have people knocking on my doors demanding to be recruited and a CCW. That doesn't.
So just let me have a CCW. I'll apply for
Show
one.
me good cause.
I'm a citizen?
That's not good cause.
Really? Okay, so you're saying that to the camera, being a citizen's not enough.
Nope.
That,
I
no,
agree with
there's a process you have to follow.
What's that? Tell me about that process. Okay,
Process, one, you have to pass a background. You can't be a convicted felon or
Okay.
have a mental defect or be a subject of domestic violence or restraining order.
is that a
Yeah.
county ordinance?
Actually, these are state ordinances.
Okay, well, the thing is, I have a friend of mine from Ventura County, and he had a prior record as a 20-year-old. He had committed a crime, he was convicted, etc. He applied for a CCW, and Jeff Dean issued it to him. Yes.
Was he convicted of a felony or misdemeanor?
So I don't know what the conviction was. I know it was pretty high.
That's very important.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the big difference. And say if it was a felony, well, shame on that sheriff for allowing a convicted felon.
So you think Jeff Dean was wrong?
I don't know. You're
Okay.
missing the key piece of information,
Okay.
okay, to make that assessment. So we have to be consistent here.
Do you have a CCW? Do you
as
have
a
one?
retired peace officer, yes, I have one.
So you're granted that as a result of your service?
HR 218, which
Okay.
you should be familiar with, grants that, and that was enacted by Congress.
Okay. I would like to see you as a sheriff lobby on our behalf, like for national reciprocity too, things like that. That'd be nice.
But,
Because you just mentioned federal law, and you agree with following federal law. Oh, and you had a statement you had made here. Constitution and the laws of the United States
Arthur, we don't need a,
shall be the supreme law of the land. I have it right here. Would you like a copy? I'll give it to you.
Oh, I know you've probably seen that before.
Okay.
Mr. Villanueva, how would you plan to vet recruitees to the sheriff's office?
Well, one, we have to create a farm system. We have to have our local.
They wouldn't wear sunglasses.
Four-year schools that have good criminal justice and administration justice programs. We want to get them involved and become applicants for the department. I taught at Cal State Long Beach for 4 years. In that class, it looked like Los Angeles County. Those are the kids that I want in. And we're gonna raise our minimum standard from a high school diploma to an AA degree. And some said, ooh, that's gonna make it harder. I said, no, it's actually, you improve the caliber of the people that are applying when you raise the standard.
Fair
And
enough.
also, we have to recognize the fact that in AA today, in comparison to a high school diploma 30 years ago, actually, unfortunately, we seem to have a decline in the quality of the product coming out of our high schools. So,
Yeah, that's
and-
true.
But, it's a challenge, it's a challenge across the country, and hopefully we'll get to a point where our K through 12 education is such that it was way back in the day, but we're not there. So with an AA degree, I can at least have a minimum level of confidence that they're gonna have the proper reading ability, math skills, analytical skills, so then when they come through the academy, they can handle the responsibilities in the academy, the academic testing, which is pretty rigorous. I think there's 26 separate academic tests, and there's a lot of work to do in the academy, and then you have to write. And on the job as a peace officer, you have to write. You have to be a good technical report writer.
Mhm.
And a lot of people actually wash out of either the academy or they wash out of patrol training is because they can't write. They
Wow.
can't write in and these, the writing standard? Actually, when we teach report writing in the academy, we're asking them to write at a 9th grade level. And that is more or less a center mass for when that written report goes in front of a jury, for example, when they're deciding a case. That is a standard they shoot for about a 9th grade level of reading comprehension. And unfortunately, we have a hard time sometimes getting people to make that standard in patrol training. And the problem is, unfortunately, we can blame our cell phones on some of this, because guess what? This thing is horrible in terms of getting people to read. Everybody wants a little meme, and they want this quick thing to scroll through, but there's no better way to actually learn how to write is by reading. Yeah. When I was a kid in 5th and 6th grade in Puerto Rico, I actually walked to school reading books. I don't know how I didn't get run over by a car, but I was actually walking to school, I'd be reading my books, about 1.5 miles each way. And the grace of God, I never got run over. But we need to elevate that standard. And you were asking about the recruitment process. We're going to raise the standard. We're going to actually have incentives established to retain people. Right now, people get into the department, and we want them to work in one location for a 4-year minimum in patrol. So they have good working relationships with the community knows who they are, they know who the community are, and in times of crisis and conflicts, guess what? There's a level of familiarity that is comforting. In times of crisis, you know who to go to, you can understand who the players are. Say you have a son or a daughter that's on psych meds, and the neighborhood knows it, well, the local deputies may know it too, and you can say, hey, you know what? They have a knife, they haven't taken their meds in 3 days, and okay, we have mental evaluation teams to get involved, but at least we kind of know what's going on right away, so we're going to try to minimize the potential for damage. Isolate the situation, make sure no one else can be impacted so we don't have additional person to be victimized, and then we're just going to try to see if we can just calm the situation down, de-escalate the situation.
They pre-let you know, can't you involve LA County to help you with a situation
Well,
like that?
our mental evaluation teams are actually a team of a clinician, typically a psychiatric nurse, and a deputy sheriff. They don't wear a uniform, they wear, soft civilian clothes. And there's 18 teams, they were authorized to expand to 32 by the board of supervisors. In reality, in a county of 10 million, even the 32 are fully deployed, 24/7, do the math, and you realize you're lucky if you get them when you need them. In deputies of patrol, sometimes they have a very short estimated time of arrival, what they call ETA. You get them in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, hey, that's a good day. Sometimes they'll say, hey, it's gonna be 4 hours. Or guess what? We're not available tomorrow. There's no one on duty. Then the deputies in patrol are stuck with that scenario, and they have to work with it.
Hi, one of my members of my Facebook audience, they want to know what you would do to reform the sheriff's office, sheriff's department, and to minimize the number of law enforcement involved shootings.
Well, to reform the sheriff's department, my platform has been 3 big words: reform, rebuild, and restore. The reform component is, first of all, we got to clean house. Like we mentioned earlier, the foot soldiers of Paul Tanaka are alive and well, and they're now the
That's
command
right,
staff
blame
of
Paul.
Jim McDonnell. That was the just mind-boggling worst idea ever in terms of trying to take over organizations.
Can you name some names for us?
Oh, they know who they are. We know who they
Can
are.
you name them for
I can
us?
start
Because we
with
should be able to report to the press about them. I have no problem with
Yeah,
that.
you can start with the other sheriff, Jacques LaBerge.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, because I agree with you. I mean, corruption is just rife in this county. I agree with you.
We're gonna clean house.
Who else? Any other names? Because
Right.
you guys are you ready? Did you write that name down?
As the
Jacques
sheriff,
LaBerge?
I have the discretion of all my at-will employees who are the rank of division chief and higher to actually tell them, thank you for your service to the county. It's time to move on. And I can bring in people, and I will bring in people from the outside, retired people that are willing to step up to allow us to train a younger generation of leadership. We have to fill the gap because we have a corrupt top and towards the center of the top, and we're gonna get rid of most of them. But we have to fill the gap with people that actually can do the job. We're gonna retain some because we need institutional knowledge, and we need some continuity in the operation of the organization. That's just being responsible.
Is part of the problem that the department has, does that come from the stint that the new deputies have to deal with when they first come into jails? And how they transition into the community? They have an initial jail stint first when they come in,
Yes.
is that correct?
That's actually part of our obstacles in recruiting, because a lot of kids that, get out of high school, maybe they went to the military, came out, or in college, they don't wanna work in the jails. They wanna work straight in patrol. So we lose a lot of quality recruits to LAPD and to other PDs, or to the federal services.
Yeah, the LA Times did a big thing on that. where
Will you change that then? Will you?
That they stayed in there.
Actually, I'm working to change that. I want to have an ability to recruit people, have them go straight to patrol and bypass custody. But there's a lot of working parts involved in this, and we have to have organized labor that represents the deputies, represents the supervisors, and there's a lot of building blocks that we have to line up in order to achieve this. It's not something that can change overnight, and it's gonna happen. Hold on a second.
I will.
I'll get to you.
That's fine.
But part of that acculturation phenomenon that occurs when a young kid is assigned to custody, especially say that it's a person grew up in an affluent white community, and for the first time they're working side by side or with an inmate population that is decidedly non-white, overwhelmingly. The image and what they come to believe, because of that, what they're seeing, they might have how can we say it? It tilts their view, their perceptions of the community, because they're isolated only in that environment.
Yeah, that's part of my point. Right?
Yeah, so then when they go out to the streets, do they carry that same attitude with them, or do they recognize, no, that was just the people in custody, and I got to treat people on the street just like I would in my own neighborhood, in my own community. That's a transition. Most make it through okay, some people have difficulty with that, and those ones that have difficulty are the ones that we deal with. Occasionally they make the news because of misconduct and
Sure.
things like that, so it's not an easy fix. That's gonna be a big challenge, but we have to start by recognizing the problem. When we recognize the problem, guess what? We're gonna invite people in, even people that I disagree with, I'm gonna invite them in. I may even choose to invite you. Guess what? We're gonna talk about SB 54. Come on down.
You should come with me too, Robin.
Okay, so that is the whole point. We have to hear from everyone. I think
Okay,
you had a
go.
question, sir.
Sure. My name's Lawrence, I'm a resident of Redondo, and I'm a real estate agent, and I know the homeless problem specifically in like Venice, downtown, it's becoming kind of overwhelming. I know Mayor Garcetti's spending like 20 million on homeless shelters. Is there a plan to, I don't think throwing them in jail is the answer, but is something citizens can be done to clean up their towns, and is there a process?
There was several ballot measures, and there was a bond measure. I think it was H, the one that was for mental health, and for homeless. And it generated a huge pot of money now. I believe it's somewhere upwards of $500 million, 586 million. And it's a number that keeps growing, because it was based on the sales tax, I believe. So we're dumping into this fund all the time, yet we haven't actually started using the funds. we have to take ownership of the problem. The sheriff, and I'm gonna take ownership of the problem because my predecessor, Jim McDonnell, hasn't. And the last 6 years alone, we've seen a 75% increase in homelessness. And it's a huge number, 75% swing in 6 years. What I wanna know is how? What was the mechanism that drove it up 75%?
AB 109.
I looked through the surveys, and one number that sticks out is 30% is out of state in the last 1 to 5 years.
That's true.
And unfortunately, when we have a system that actually we take care as much as we can, we also tend to attract more people than that what we can take care of. We have a big heart, we show compassion, but at the same time, there's a lot more people than our capacity to take care of them. So we become an attractive magnet for the entire country.
Yeah, like the sanctuary state law.
Well, actually, no, there's
Yeah.
a different way.
Yes, and AB 109, which has pushed a lot of people onto the street.
So there's 3 things that we need to use to have wrap our arms around this. One, we have to understand the mechanism, how it grew 75%.
Sanctuary state.
Actually, the homeless population.
And AB 109.
If you look, undocumented population of the homeless, they're only like 2%.
Because they get all these handouts.
But how we got those 75%.
And the citizens get pushed out.
But we have to have
Yep.
compassion, for sure.
What about for
We
the
have to
5
have-
who were murdered?
Hold on. We have to have some common sense. We have to have a little bit of tough love.
Robin, I'm sorry.
Because we have different elements of the homeless
What about Kate
population
Steinle?
there for different reasons.
What about Ruben
We have a
Morphine?
group of actually youngsters about your age group that are now, have adopted it as a lifestyle. That actually they're selected themselves and they're okay with this nomadic lifestyle. And you see them around the Starbucks, you see them in places, and you wonder, because before, whenever you saw a homeless person, they typically were like 40s, 50s, 60s plus. But now you see someone who's 18 and homeless, and it's alarming.
Drugs.
All right, some of it definitely is.
There's wet houses in Ventura County. People shoot
You
up.
have mental illness, you have drug dependency, those are
Yep.
2 big drivers. But you also have economic circumstances. Our cost of living is so high, all it takes is one little bump, and you're from housed into being homeless. It could be a loss of the job, it could be a major medical crisis, some type of emergency, and guess what, boom, you're out evicted.
Okay,
Or
is
the
it-
place where you live got converted, and you received an eviction for no fault of your own, because of the whole issue of gentrification, and people are trying to cash in on the value of their property, you know, to make.
But you're supposed to be the sheriff, not the social worker for the county.
Well-
And now it sounds like you're, okay, that's not your job. Because you've been telling me about it's not your job to enforce immigration law, but you're not supposed to be the social worker either. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to help out recognize the sheriff's deputies are overworked.
And when you're sheriff, by all means, you have to wear a lot of hats. One hat you're never gonna wear is being immigration officer. But you will wear that.
But you can be a social worker.
hat. You're gonna wear, you know,
But what if they're committing crimes? In our
the war
country
hat.
legally, they're
There's so many
committing,
hats, you're
You do
gonna
have to
wear
wear the
the.
hat.
Yes, you do.
hat. You're gonna wear the crime fighting hat, you're gonna be the crisis negotiator, I mean, there's so many different things you have to do.
Breaking into the country illegally
in
is a
this job.
crime.
It's not easy, but, hold on,
Yeah, wait.
it's an important thing that we have to do. We have an obligation. Now, the question on the floor was, what are we doing homeless? We have to repurpose a lot of structures.
Is there a process too for citizens? I know, the city council in Torrance is kind of like getting, a factor for them. I know, Venice Beach, definitely.
Homelessness is not a factor in Torrance the way it is in Redondo.
And you know what, one obstacle to finding a solution for homeless, at least some degree of a solution, is NIMBYism.
Right.
Everyone wants it solved as long as it's not in their backyard.
backyard.
Right.
If you look at the riverbed in Santa Ana about 6 months ago, the rage about, oh my God, the riverbed is crawling with homeless people, it's out of control. They did this big sweep because they got vouchers for 1 month to put them in local motels.
Yeah.
Okay, plan A, that was the first part.
Which we
Step
paid
one.
for.
Step 2, okay, now from the local motels, after 30 days, to the Grand Park, they were gonna set up trailers and some alternative form of housing, which is a little bit more long-term. What happened? The community rose up against it.
Good for them.
They went to the board of supervisors, but the problem is, that
Yeah,
you,
good for
you
them.
can say good for them, but guess what?
You want to know why it's happening? Because it's the Rehab Riviera down there.
Human beings, we're gonna-
Okay, then you put them in your house. You feel that strongly about it. Don't lecture me with your humanity.
This is my question. What's-
Okay, but I'm also allowed to speak to this and answering why.
Alex has afforded you the time to speak, and I'd appreciate it if you'd afford him the same time.
And I have, but I'm allowed to speak to others' issues too. Just because you don't like what I'm saying. She's part of the Torrance Refinery Action Alliance. She's another activist.
Shut up, raise your hand!
Okay, but I don't care what you think because this is not a democracy.
Not your planned agenda, Arthur.
What's my planned agenda? You're the one talking about that.
We, so now the citizens rebelled against the idea.
Like right now, what we're doing.
The homeless didn't go anywhere, they're still there. You can whine all you want, you can jump up and down all you want, you can say not in my backyard, but guess what? They're still gonna be on your front door, they're gonna be down the street, they're gonna be in the alley.
Take them into custody.
They don't go away just because you don't want them there.
If we allow your job, which I support.
So,
Take them into
hate crime
custody.
is on the rise in 2016.
Yes.
So, what will you do to remedy that situation? Would you be open to having a hate crime task force?
We have a form of that already in place, but my concept of implementing community policing throughout the entire county and building those relationships of trust in every single patrol station that we have is gonna be start of the problem, because that expands our presence in the community, increases our ears and eyes, and we're a source of immediate, help. And then the community advisory councils that were dismissed by McDonnell, we're gonna recreate them. And we have probably 3 or 4 groups that are the most vulnerable. The undocumented are one, the LGBT community is another, the Jewish community.
Jews are
and the
under
Muslim
attack.
community. Also the Sikh, just there's a lot smaller numbers. Probably those 5 are the ones that face 95% plus of all the anger, the ire, a lot of things that happen to them, and they become victims of violent crimes even. Occasionally they make the news, you see, someone gunned down a poor person in a restaurant because they're wearing a hijab or something. Stuff like that.
When did that happen?
Yeah,
Last.
tell us about that in LA County.
Actually, I didn't say LA County, I said something throughout
Well-
the country.
But you're supposed to be the county for LA
Sure,
County.
we're on LA County.
And documented is not a race, it is a legal status. That's very offensive. I have a friend of mine,
Why?
Agnes, it took her years to
Don't
become a
care,
citizen.
Arthur.
So I think it's very offensive to treat it like some kind of a bird-born
Well,
class.
the point is,
Would
they're
you be
humans.
okay with an undocumented person
Illegal.
being attacked
If,
simply because they're undocumented?
if I forget my license at home, that's undocumented. I
They're
do have
human
it though.
beings.
Okay, but we have laws too.
Yeah, what about the law?
What about, so
Because
hate crimes for
someone-
citizens
so
now?
Shouldn't treat them like human beings?
Okay, treating them is holding them
I mean,
accountable when they
it's
break
a
the law.
Ridiculous notion
Well,
that you
so
have.
obeying the law and following the law is ridiculous. So you are delegitimizing his run for office. Okay.
Gentlemen, you have a question, sir?
Yes.
Sure. My name's Ryan. I'm a reporter with the Easy Reader in Hermosa Beach. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to your disagreement with Sheriff McDonnell about releasing the list of deputies to the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, and also how you feel about the recent laws that went to Governor Brown regarding disclosing identity of officers involved in officer-involved shootings.
The so-called list of 300, the Brady
Yes.
list, my problem with it is the list is fake. It's not a real list. It was compiled by the Lee Bakken Poltonoc administration, for starters. And the actual underlying premise of it is, which is to honor the Brady decision, which is case
And
law.
just remind your
And we have
audience,
pictures and
McDonald beat
We
Tanaka.
have people on the department right now. So we have a list that is actually half baked. People that don't belong on it are on it. There's a lady, she works up at Antelope Valley. She has a 4-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old daughter with Down syndrome. She's on that list because about 15 years ago, she pepper sprayed an inmate in custody who was about to spit in her face. That put her on that Brady list. So that gives you an idea how faulty the list is. I have a person who is now promoted to the rank of commander who actually lied as a deputy and should have been fired. This is what this person did. He claimed that he saw a person in a car in a stolen vehicle, driving the stolen vehicle, and he arrested the person for grand theft auto. Or I think a joyride, 10851 of the California Vehicle Code, which is unlawful driving a vehicle without the owner's consent.
Ew.
Problem was, the vehicle had no engine. That person is part of Jim McDonnell's command staff. Now you see the problem with it, that list, that whole idea of the list is just a PR stunt to give the impression like he's doing something. But to do something, you have to proactively go through the entire organization, all of these decisions that impacted the employees, and find out who violated the trust of the community. What positions do they have in the department right now? Are they impacting the veracity of any reporting that's going on in the department or in court testifying under oath? Can they be truthful? Because that impacts the community, because someone might be convicted based on faulty testimony that's not credible.
Or just for sitting in a city council meeting.
So do you think that as sheriff, do you think the sheriff has the power to disclose such a list, presuming it were correct and accurate?
Decisions that come out said he doesn't.
Well,
Because
but it's before the Supreme Court.
Right.
And I'm curious
it
how
lost
you
at
would.
the Superior Court level, it lost at the Appellate Court level,
Right.
it's now at the Supreme Court level.
So if the Supreme Court finds that you do have the power and you were able to construct a list that you feel is accurate, would you turn it over to the district attorney's office?
I will follow the mandates of the Supreme Court, yes.
So you
By that point, I'm obligated to. However, understand this, there's certain legislation like, I think SB 1421,
what are you referring to? I'm not sure.
the new legislation in the city.
Regarding the disclosure of deputies
Disclosure.
involved in.
That one
shootings?
kind of addresses part of it, but not entirely, and it has some flaws attached to it. Like, for example, it doesn't provide for whistleblower protections. It can actually force a revelation of a whistleblower, so that kind of goes against the grain of the ideas. But on general principle, we want more transparency. If the legislature tried to pass the Peace Officer Bill of Rights today, it would never pass. Because that was passed, decades ago. However, the unions, law enforcement unions, they understand that there's a push for greater transparency. I think if they sit down at the table with legislators, they can probably come up with a bill that'll pass muster and keep all parties satisfied. We want to make sure that a defendant in court is entitled to all the exculpatory information. And it shouldn't be passively just because the prosecution needs it. The sheriff should take an active role in making sure that no one's in a position of providing information that could be not credible to the court to begin with. But that has to be a proactive sheriff that doesn't allow for that. Right now, the sheriff is allowing for that. And it's not just in criminal court, it's also in civil court. It's in civil service cases, it's in employee relations cases, FERCOM. Right now, you have managers that can routinely perjure themselves with no consequence. And that's considered acceptable because they're defending management. Yeah, no, that's how bizarre it is. And then the sheriff enacted put a policy, they call it the gag rule for managers. It's volume 3, chapter 1, section 030.74 for your edification. And that one says that a manager and above has to support the decisions of the sheriff. And if he's facing with that conflict, he has to support the decisions that the sheriff's made, cannot counter it in any way. So you wind up with people in court, under oath, facing the consequence, well, do I tell the truth or do I face discipline for violating the gag rule? That is the awkward position he's placed people. And then speaking of transparency, in end of May of this year, he put a memo to all department employees that he said, and I'm quoting it, the official business of the sheriff's department is confidential. And I called BS on that. The official business of the sheriff's department is the public's business.
Yes.
And that is a huge difference in transparency. And I just got wind today, someone sent me a text that the city of Long Beach, when McDonnell was the chief of police of Long Beach, they had an app on their phones where they could actually do texting and the text just disappears. I think they call it Tiger texting or something.
Yeah,
Was it that Tiger?
yes. That's what I remember reading.
I just got that in the phone, I read it today, I
Probably
wasn't
uses it.
aware of this, but that
She probably
essential
uses it.
secrecy is a trademark of the McDonnell administration. In fact, with the Civilian Oversight Commission, they were forced to go to put a ballot measure on the ballot to gain subpoena power, when they should have just had the documents they needed from the very beginning. Why should it have to go through such heroic efforts to get the information they need to do their job properly?
Sexual abuse.
That is,
Oh, yeah.
again,
That's what he's talking about.
the big secrecy of Jim McDonnell. We're gonna tear that whole system apart, and our business is the public's business. There are certain things that are always gonna be protected, and that's gonna be personnel files of employees, including obviously cops. It's gonna be, victims' names and addresses of sex crimes, for example, things like that. Ongoing investigations, you can't reveal them, because then you lose your investigation. You know, these are no-brainer things. But guess what? Everything the department generates, by way of reports, statistics, data, it's you guys. That's your information. You're paying for it. It's yours. And you assess it any which way you want, and then you can decide if we're doing our job, if I'm doing my job properly. And I want the Civilian Oversight Commission to have the power to do that. So you can see this whole thing is not a black and white issue. There's a lot of intricacies involved in this. And that list of, that Brady list, I had a lieutenant I used to work with years ago. He said, you know what, when the game is chess, don't be caught playing checkers. That's a standard checkers game, the 300 list. Because the problem is far bigger than that. I'm going to have a truth and reconciliation process. We're going to go through all of the decisions. I mean, this is going to take a while. But we're going to go through all these employment decisions and review them. We're also going to offer to criminal defendants who are convicted, and they believe they were convicted wrongfully. I want to see the evidence. Show me what you're talking about. And we're going to go back and we'll match it with information we have, and we may decide, guess what? You're right. And then knowing this information, we're going to provide it to the district attorney's office under Brady, and they can have a matter to appeal their conviction.
She has a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I've had my hand raised for a while, so I'm getting back to an earlier topic. I just want to point out that the current immigration law of the land, the federal immigration law, Immigration Reform and Control Act, actually states that local law enforcement can absolutely be involved in the process. That is what the actual federal law states. And the section in the federal law is section 287G. And that's actually been a program where local law enforcement can be trained in that aptitude. And
Can be, is an
Yeah.
operative term.
exactly, but I was saying, you were making it sound like local law enforcement cannot be involved.
No, cannot be
Federal-
forced.
Cannot be
That's the
forced.
difference.
But the federal law does allow for local law enforcement to be involved in the immigration.
And it requires
also-
sharing of data, requires it. That is federal
We can
law.
also have federal law enforcement enforce local law with the PC 832 course. They take a 1-week course, and they actually are blessed to enforce state law. And some do that. However, in both incidences where federal's enforcing state law or state enforcing federal, it's voluntary. That is a key operative.
But it is
So we-
allowed,
It's allowed, but guess
and it's
what?
in the federal law that it is allowed.
Right, but it's optional. It is not compulsory.
I got a basic
That is
question.
big-
Are you gonna get ICE, are you gonna remove ICE from the jails?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you're actually even contravening SB 54, because SB 54 does allow for that, and it's still required essentially for that communication on those felonies.
I'm on SB 54, but I'm gonna do so in a way where. they're not
So
gonna
you're
say
on
we're
record,
gonna do.
ICE is going out of the jails if you are sheriff. Okay.
Yes, and the damage created by McDonnell with his push against SB 54 is such that it's caused a whole generation of people to be victimized. And those people, guess what? I care for their safety.
What about Tierra Stansbury?
Yeah, what about the American citizens victimized?
What about-
You never talk about them.
How about?
What about Nancy Duran, who was killed by an illegal in North Hills?
What about that?
Grandmother and a grandmother,
We
2015.
What
can have,
What about
we
those
can have this
victims?
argument all day long. Fact of the matter is, and
But you're okay with that illegal staying here?
You're okay with them in the jail system?
How about let's talk about county issues?
That is a county issue.
LA County Jail. we're
Have you
talking
lost
about.
your mind? Are you paying attention?
You don't have a mind, fool.
All right, you guys calm down, both of you.
She has sunglasses inside the room, and she's telling me that I've lost my mind.
I don't know if you're familiar with a study that was just released, I want to say last
Probably
year,
because she's a criminal.
where they compared the level of criminality, the incidence of crime between undocumented residents, legal residents, and you're waving your finger saying no. What about it?
Because into custody, their legal status is not a part of the record. That's why it doesn't show up that they are committing crimes.
Now you're comparing apples
When you're
and
going through the
oranges.
courts, it's not,
Remember-
for example, the gentleman, I shouldn't say gentleman, the man who killed the 5 American citizens, nowhere in the record, court record, does it say he's in our country illegally. There's no record of that, because it's not a part of the crime stats.
You're missing,
Which needs to
you're missing
change.
the picture here. I talked about criminality, I talked about threat, crimes itself. The odds are, and the statistics already show that there's a very scientific
Because you don't
study.
keep track of it.
Oh,
You
no,
don't-
no. You can't say, oh, well, because the Congress decided that they're all illegal now and criminally illegal.
Yes, they are.
Before it was a tort and it was a civil violation.
No, it's a felony. 1325.
Now, it was made politically into that.
It's been that way for a long time.
No, before it was a tort.
And it's a felony.
Okay, but the point is, take that out of the equation, undocumented residents, the level of criminality
There's
associated
no
with them.
record. When they commit a crime, it's not on their record. If they, for example, we
Well, you know
have a
what?
friend whose.
We can go around in circles
Son was
here.
killed by a man in the country illegally. He went through the system. Nowhere in the system does it say he's in the country illegally. So he killed someone. There's no record of that in the crime
I'll make
stats.
it
That he
real
was
simple
here
for you.
illegally. There's no record of that.
Yep.
The
They
gunman,
don't
the
keep track
gunman in
of
Las
it.
Vegas.
The federal government and the prison system does keep track of it, and there it's about 20% in our country illegally are in federal custody, because they do keep track of the status. But misdemeanor, crimes, et cetera, that their status is not recorded
Man, but
if they're in the country
What about the
illegally.
gunman in Vegas?
Huh?
You were gonna make a point.
yes, the gunman in Las Vegas, what nationality was he?
What does that matter?
What, yeah.
Well, wait a minute,
We
wait a minute.
we have plenty of our own
That's my
homegrown
whole point.
criminals.
That's my whole point.
What do you
We
mean?
have many of our
Now-
own homegrown criminals. We don't need to report
Now it
criminals.
doesn't matter.
We don't need to be bringing them in.
It did matter. So you need to make up your mind.
About
Does
what?
the nationality of the person, does a crime matter?
I've never made nationality
You know
the
what?
issue. You just
We
did.
have many homegrown criminals.
You've been arguing about the 5 burnt people in there for,
They were
And they need
victims
to
of
be
a crime, not 5 burnt people.
You're saying
How do you think their families would feel if they heard you
They're
say
probably
that? Their family members are devastated.
yes.
How would they feel? The
And so
mother
are the
of
family
DeAndre would
members
be
of the
devastated to
55
hear
or
you
58
say
dead
that,
Las
5
Vegas.
burnt people.
He is on trial.
What does that have to do, though, with illegal
He's on
immigration?
trial. But in his record.
He shouldn't have even been in the country.
Yes, those 5 Americans would be here. if-
And he's in the country because of sanctuary policies. That's what we're trying to communicate. And why do you think we are vehement about this? I've met the mothers and fathers whose children have been murdered by illegals, and they can't be everywhere.
Undocumented, please. This has been going on since the 80s.
So it's nonsense that people are murdered by illegals. Is that what you're saying, Haru? Is that what you're saying? Yes or no?
Murdered at all.
Really?
All these countries of people coming here, and whoever commits a crime, legal or illegal, should be convicted of that crime. And if they're illegal, at that point convicted, they should be deported.
But they shouldn't even be in the country in the first place.
They shouldn't have been in the country. in the
They
first
shouldn't have been in the country in the first place.
They are.
And they shouldn't be. And why are they? Because of the sanctuary policy. We've talked about this.
Go work the border if you're so concerned.
You know why? Because
Go get a job as a
people
border
like
patrolman.
people like you are poisoning the discussion on thank God you don't. You'd probably let them all in.
Yes, we will.
Actually,
Okay, that's out of your mouth. You would allow illegal aliens to come into this country. The whole world should come in. Look at me, man, when you say it to the camera, let the whole world see it. Absolutely. Will you start with your home?
I think we stole California from Mexico.
Who's we? I wasn't born yet. Were you?
Hell,
What do you mean stole? Explain that.
Manifest Destiny. We took-
No. Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, 1848, was purchased, $40 million, which would be $1 billion today. Not stolen.
Sure, it was stolen.
Or do you steal money from your employer?
Okay, we have an emergency we're gonna go to now. Unfortunately, we have deputies that were shot in the line of duty,
Oh,
Are
God.
they okay?
and we don't know.
Oh,
So
I
we're
wonder
gonna
what the
see on
status
their
was.
welfare, and we'll have to continue.
We
this
didn't talk about him as
conversation
13
another
either.
day, all right? Thank you.
Mara Salvatrucha.
What if they were shot by an illegal?
I wonder if they were shot by an illegal
Can you
alien.
imagine if they were?
That would just be
We have to
a
leave this
sudden
because-
problem. So we got this lady here from the Torrance Refinery Action Alliance. She wants the whole world to come in. So are you sure you're gonna, would you start with your backyard? Will you let them into your home first? Will you tear down the walls around your home? She didn't want to talk to me. But we at least get, once in a while they're honest.
Yeah.
I thought you guys were in a hurry, but you want to take photos with him?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I thought you guys were in a hurry, but now you're taking photos? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait.
It was an emergency.
You said it was an emergency. You said it was an emergency that sheriff's deputies were shot down, and now you have time to take photos. Okay, so we got Alex Villanueva, who's ready to take photos with prospective voters, but he says he's got to go because 2 sheriff's deputies are down. Really?
Very insensitive.
Wow, very insensitive. And apparently, it's racist to want a secure border. It's racist to be opposed. Now, you said the land was stolen. Explain. How was it stolen? $40 million paid. Did you know that the Mexican nationals wanted to become Americans when the American army took over DF? They were ready to become American citizens, the entire country.
Native Americans off their.
Who's we? I didn't kick anybody off their land. Who's we?
United States government.
Okay, and you know, they kicked other people off their land too. Natives were killing other natives. Did you know that?
Is that right or?
No, it isn't right, but don't go blaming the whole world because you had different tribes that were eating each other alive.
Government. for
Yes.
taking them off.
And here's the other thing too. There was a lawsuit and those tribes won, and yet for some reason they turned down the money and they still want the land. So don't give me this guilt narrative. Sorry, that doesn't cut people breaking into people's homes. Do you have a door? Do you lock it?
Keep my live stream.
Yes or no? Okay, you don't lock your door, fair enough, but most of us do because we like the idea of having privacy. We like the idea of people not breaking into our homes. We like the idea of people not stealing our stuff or killing our pets or killing our loved ones. Maybe that's a problem for you. But the vast majority of people in this country, including immigrants, people who came legally, would like a secure border. And they'd like to know that they were safe in their homes. And that's not crazy. That's not bigoted or racist. Thank you. I think it's the first time I actually got some sense into somebody. Did you see that? He was taking photos. But I thought it was an emergency.
Really insensitive.
I think we have a secure.
No, we don't. Did you hear that? We have a secure border, really. Would you like to share that with the 5 who got burned alive in that warehouse? What would you like to tell them? Oh, they're
We
dead.
have an awful lot of crime in this country.
We do, and that is our problem, but we don't need more of it.
It's not just committed by undocumented.
Illegal, no, I've never said that. I know we've got legal, we've got the people like who shot up Las Vegas, and they should be prosecuted. I agree with you. But do we need more crime?
No,
Did Kate Steinle deserve to be killed?
no one deserves to be killed.
Okay, well, I don't know. I do support the death penalty myself, so I would disagree with you on that, but generally speaking, I agree. We want to keep people safe, but we just can't be the batter's women's shelter for the whole world, can we? Unless you want to start with your house. Like this lady here says she wants the whole world to come in. Are you ready to let them into your house?
bitch!
Uh-huh. Is that what you want to do? Wow, look how violent she got.
That's how she gets after
She
people
gets so
out.
angry so quick. Nice. Wow. She's crazy. Wow. Are you okay? I think someone needs a Twinkie. Jeez. Are you okay there, RG? Is there something else? What is it?
Go follow.
What's her name? What? She doesn't want to talk to me. Are you going to go after her? She's creating the noise ordinance.
I just sent her out of the airport.
God bless you. Thank you. She doesn't understand borders. I love you, man. God bless you. My father worked for the city. Thank you. Oh. Oh, Lord. On, because that crazy. She definitely shouldn't get a CCW. Yes, absolutely I should. I believe in this right. Because I've been threatened by people like her. Yes, you should get one too if you're worried about a hate crime. I don't think she qualifies for a CCW. Where is she? Let's go say.
Did she realize all those other people are gonna get hurt too in there with her?
I know, she hurt all these people.
Hey, they gotta shut this whole building down. They got a swastika flag in here.
Well, this is, I think, what Lou Zamperini is our hometown hero, everybody.
Yeah, but if we're taking statues down that are historical value, we gotta take this whole building down.
See, my city is very special in this regard. We have a true hometown hero.
It's been tainted.
I know, by people like that.
We gotta burn the whole building down.
Did we really got him?
He's not in the ballpark of winning, is he?
I don't think so. I mean, McDonnell's the incumbent. I am live, everybody.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be such irony if we find out that an illegal shot those cops. And
A sad one.
And that he had to leave his own event early to go, I don't even know.
We
why-
did a really good
I don't even
job. This
know
is
why
what
he
has to,
did
and you know
that.
what? Don't get me wrong. I'm after McDonnell. We should have, it should be shall issue, not may issue, not let me think about it issue. This is garbage. I don't know this issue of my friend who had a conviction as a kid or as a youth, but just because you've committed a crime doesn't mean you can't have a firearm. Natural law, self-defense. Last time I checked, that isn't nullified. Those are inalienable rights. And you know, this is Haro Avoyan, whatever it is. This guy said to me in Hermosa Beach 5 years ago, you have to accept me, because he's gay.
I never said
Yes,
that.
you did.
I never said that.
Yes, you did.
Never.
Total bigotry. That turns into a hate crime for me and for everybody else.
I think what I
That's
said-
wrong. Yes, you did. You have to accept me. I will not accept tolerance. Those were your words.
I never said that.
Yes, you did. At the Henry Waxman Town Hall, when I scared that guy, when I went after him, because that guy was more interested in caring about plants and animals than he was about human beings.
I never said
I'm so glad Henry Waxman is gone. Thank you.
You ran him out of town.
Well, I ran him out of town. That guy didn't know what he was coming into in the South Bay.
Also surprising.
you got Ted Lou instead.
I know Lion Ted, and we've had a lot of fun with him too, haven't we? We really triggered him in Redondo Beach last year. He deserved it. For a guy who hides behind his veteran card, and at the same time he opens up our borders, he is part of the no money bail agenda at the federal level. Which, by the way, you have all these criminals who aren't going to be held anymore. How many more are going to get killed? How many more are going to get shot? How much more? Now, don't get me wrong, we do need reform. I think putting somebody in jail with a $100,000 bond is totally ridiculous. Nobody has that kind of money. It should hurt. But you shouldn't be holding people from a rope because they have to mortgage their home either. It's totally a racket, I agree. But you did say that. You have to accept me.
I never said that.
Now you're denying it, and it's not going to work. I saw it, I heard it, I wrote about it.
You probably misconstrued what I
No, you said it, dude. And why are you playing
I
defense
said
like this?
That I should have equal rights as everybody else.
No, you don't believe that because you just talked about hate crimes. So what, if someone commits a crime against me because I'm white, but that's not a hate crime?
I'm considered white and Armenian.
Oh, no, you're not.
Yes.
Middle Eastern.
No.
Someone said it to you?
No, it's Caucasian.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so they've expanded the base. Okay, fair enough.
No.
It's because of where they're from, the Caucasus.
Okay.
And we were the first Christians.
Well, I hate to say it, but a lot of we need a lot of the,
So,
there is,
you know,
what's your point?
my point is. how-
Okay, tell me about AB 2943. Did you support that bill? AB 2943.
How does it benefit you?
Why is it you keep getting kicked out of things?
I didn't get kicked out, lady. I'm right here. Shame on you. Look at her like, don't interrupt him. Go ahead.
How does it
You were kicked
benefit
out of
you?
Ted Lou's because
By-
No, I wasn't.
How does it
were.
benefit
Bye-bye.
you?
I was there, I saw it.
No, you didn't.
I did.
I think you were blocked by a lot, like in front of you.
Benefit you that the second I walk in, I haven't seen you in 5 years.
So you do remember.
Of course I
You did say it, but you've been denying it for the past 30 minutes.
I had a conversation with you.
Oh, you do remember. Gotcha.
No.
This is it. She's a liar anyway. Go ahead, have fun. Go ahead. She's trying to help you out, I guess. Because she's already made a fool of herself.
So,
I'm absolutely right to call this out. We have to do this, folks.
so,
You lied to me.
no.
Yes, you did. You remember.
I had a conversation with
Yes, you said. You have to accept
No,
me.
I never said that.
And that's wrong. Okay, so tell me, AB 2943, did you support that
I
bill?
don't know what that bill is.
Oh, sure. Okay, I'm sorry. We got to go. All right. Wave.
There's 5,000 bills assessed.
Bye-bye.
I
I
don't
know.
remember all the, I don't know all the bills.
There's too many, wouldn't you agree?
Maybe.
Okay, good. We have some common ground.
So,
Are you blocking us?
no.
Okay, let's go.
When I'm, go.
Good. He believes in open borders. At least you're consistent. Okay, we got to get out of here because they want to get out of here. I'm so glad. Look at, see, in this city, we don't tolerate that crap. They threw her ass out. Did you see? She was totally triggered. Did you see that?
She's hurting people.
She was hurting people. She has like no dignity.
Concern for everybody, for the group, because she was getting in their ears too.
I just really like going after these hateful people who do these hateful things. I still remember it, Robin, when they chased you down and Diet Pills shoved her camera in your face, but that's somehow okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got some new memes of Diet Pills. I'm going to share it with you. Folks, you're going to see some great photos very soon. You're his campaign manager then? No. But you're a friend of his. How did you know to... He didn't seem to be in a hurry though. I mean, he had time to take photos with people. Interesting. And Gary, did you catch that on video? I did too. Now I know if Sheriff Jim McDonnel, if something like that happened, he would be right out the door. Doesn't need to take photos with people. Okay. All right, folks. I'm out of here. Thanks for coming along.